420 entered channel. Entered channel.
Okay, hey everyone. We should be live.
420 entered channel.
Omnix is having mic trouble, so he's going to wrestle around that some more. Okay, hey everyone. Oh crap, I still have that up. No, there we go. Start up Skullgirls. Skullgirls down to like 2%. After settings, music, all the way up. Is anyone in chat? Say hello. Quan, yes, you're registered. So, I'm just gonna ramble a bit till stream fills up. So I'm Waifu, I go by Prime on Twitch. Quan, yes, you're registered. And why is that looping again? Keep on muting that. Hey, Rad. Anyway. So, this is Get Good Lobby Night. We're going to help you get good at Skullgirls. We have 14 people registered for tonight. That means we're going to have 7 registered matches, and then we'll try and do some lobby time after. Hey, Edry. So, the way this works, if you're new, is it's Twitch, so it's going to have a big delay. It's weird. I'm on a way better internet connection than I was before. So the way this works is when we call your name, we're going to send you an invite into a lobby. You're going to play 3 matches, win or lose. It's not first to 3. It's not best of 3. And we're going to commentate your matches and give you suggestions on what you can do to get better at the game. Fortunately, Omnix's mic is misbehaving, so it's gonna just be me for a little bit, but we're gonna try and get him in as soon as possible. So, the way this works is I need to make sure that you are in the Steam group for Skullgirls Newbie Night. And right now we have about 13 people, minus me, that's 12. So there are 2 people that should be in here that aren't, assuming that everyone who registered is in here, or everyone, whatever. So, first matchup is going to be trying to go by who isn't in chat. Stompenstein and Worry War Wally, you're both here, so let me just make the lobby. That should be fine. Okay, so Wally, I just sent you an invite, and Stompenstein, I just sent you an invite. So, okay, Wally's here. As soon as Stompenstein gets here, we can get started. Alright, ready up. Okay, so Wally's playing Fukua, going against Stompenstein's solo big band. Good jump in from Stompenstein's. A-Train, good. Wraps it up with a super, that's a solid bread and butter. Wally's trying to slide again, but Stompenstein has not been doing much on the ground. Good grab from Stompenstein, and Wally is down. Tries to slide again, does it during Big Band startup, so it actually works. It's a good grab from Stompenstein. He's letting him reset and does it again. So this could be a bad situation for Wally if he does not catch on. Okay, delays his timing a little bit, so he's able to block. Armored brass knuckles. So Wally's throwing out a lot of unsafe moves without trying to hit confirm into them. Stompenstein takes round one. Is solo versus solo common? For beginners, it is, because you only really know one character. But at higher level play, you don't see a lot of solos. Generally, people play with 3 people, sometimes 2. Okay, so maybe you guys are ready. Ready up, and we can do round 2. Something else odd about Wally's Fukua is I didn't see him throwing any projectiles. And projectiles are a big part of Fukua's game versus Filia's game. Because Filia has Ringlet Spike, which isn't really a traditional fireball at all. Okay, game 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime!
Okay, so that drill move could be good for breaking through Brass Knuckles armor, but Stompenstein's not really abusing Brass Knuckles. Okay, right there, that was good, using that air medium punch to get through the armor. It's a good move from Wally, but unfortunately he didn't seize the opportunity, and he's trapped into another bread and butter. Early on, I do recommend sticking with one character. Really learn and understand one character, and that'll help you work out team composition a lot more. Stompenstein did that Brass Knuckles to get out of the corner. He is able to knock round 1 off of Wally. So I like that he's trying to mix up, he's doing that jump in and then he starts going low. Wally's not blocking the air moves, but if he were, that would be a solid mix-up. I wonder if that was meant to be an A-Train, he could have gone further with that. You're welcome.
Take 3, showtime!
So I kind of feel like Wally is not playing Fukua aggressively enough. Gets chipped out. Okay, there's game 2.
420 entered channel.
Omnix, are you here? Omnix, I still can't hear you.
Channel 420. Fuck.
Yeah, this is bad. So Wally hasn't really been blocking anything in the air at all. So remember, the way blocking works in Skullgirls is that if you block while crouching, that'll protect you from low and standing attacks. If you block while standing, it will protect you from standing and air attacks and overheads. So generally, a safe rule of thumb for blocking is that when your opponent's on the ground, you should crouch block, and then when they're in the air, you should block while standing. Of course, that rule doesn't account for overheads, but overheads generally have a long enough startup time that you can switch your block style. The only thing that changed for this matchup is Wally's palette. He's switched away from the Shadow the Hedgehog palette. He's getting a couple hits in here and there, but he's not really comboing enough, or at all. You know, Stompenstein seems to have a solid bread and butter down. He trips IPS there, so Wally bursts out. Also, suggestion for Stompenstein is when your opponent is knocked down, you should do a taunt as Big Band, so that way your next super is going to have that amped up finish. Sort of a habit like, say, loading up or charging Valentine's syringes. Just, you know, whenever they're down, you have time that you can do that. Tries going for a grab, gets broken through it. So Wally seems to be throwing out a few more multi-hit moves, such as crouching medium kick. Still trying to do that slide, and he's not falling. Okay, so now Wally's down. So we have a fairly close round 3. Okay, so he did the taunt there. That was good. That was a little risky because Wally landed on his feet, so something could have happened there. Okay, so that was a little wonky. That Supersonic Jazz did not fully connect. And the way that the charges work is essentially as soon as the super ends or can no longer hit, you do the extension. He finishes off with a grab, lazy bird. That's 3.
Can I get a round of applause for our contestants?
Alright, so good games, guys. Okay, we're gonna try and get Omnix in here one more time.
420 entered channel.
And then we might have to throw in the towel. Was that? That was this one. So Worry, you should really be more cautious with your heavy moves and hit confirm into them more. It sounds like we don't have Omnix tonight. Just sad. We'll have to try and get that working for next week. A minute. Okay. Also, gotta block those air moves and those jump-ins, because Big Band was hitting you with a lot of them. Okay, let's see what we can do for our next match. Okay, we're going to do Allie the Kitty and Suspiciously Slow Scout. And you've both been sent invites. I'm noticing people are saying in chat that the stream's laggy. I have 0 dropped frames on my end, and I'm on a very good internet connection, so there shouldn't be any problems. Keep in mind, I believe the game doesn't freeze when I tab out of it. So the stream should be fine. I haven't changed any quality settings. It's running the same as it usually does. Allie, we are still waiting on you to join. I've sent you another invite. Okay. Allie's in, so when both players ready up, we can start the next match.
Time for your curtain call.
This battle is all in the mind.
Connected.
Okay, so we have Solo Bella versus Solo Big Ben. Gets a tumbling run in and starts trying to extend it on a combo, but just kind of screwed up the timing a little bit.
Disconnected from server. Connected. 420 entered channel.
I just tried restarting my mumble, so if it's not working now, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, so that was a good move from Scout, who's pretty far away from Sarabella, just did that heavy giant step and the shockwave was able to hit Ali. It's important. Tries to win Showstopper, he was airborne, so could have been punished, but isn't. Tries okay, that was an interesting move. I was just about to say that using lock and load in a combo, particularly like the heavy variant, not a really good idea because the startup time on it is going to let your opponent get out of hit stun. That was a good move running through that giant step with Pummel Horse. Saw a parry there from Scout, that was interesting. You usually do not see a lot of parries. So Ali's kind of getting jumpy and Scout's reacting by throwing out, he's throwing out A-Train. Takes the grab good. Ali's trying to throw him back in the corner. A little out of range on that A-Train, but seriously, Ali needs to be cautious about that. Okay, now I really disagree with that super, because that basically just cost Scout the game. It should cost him the game. Yeah, it did. So what baffles me is that Scout was able to punish Ali and could have gone from A-Train into Supersonic Jazz, which would have put Ali in the corner, and Scout still would have had 2 bars, so he could have done something else after that. But he didn't do anything, and Ali was able to get out, especially after that level 3. He just threw away 3 meter for something that was obviously going to get blocked. So ultimately, that's what I would say cost him that game. Hey, Sixlet. We just noticed you're in chat. Hello.
You will be prosecuted to the full extent of the jam. Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime. General.
Good concho. So, off of Concho, if you want to keep on comboing and you're knocking him down, you're going to have to figure out how to restand as Sarabella. Good A-Train. So right there, that's when he could do Supersonic Jazz. I really like, Ali's making very good use of Sarabella's command grabs, as well as Tumbling Run. Personally, I have a lot of trouble working with Pummel Horse, but I really like how Ali's using it to get through the armor and create a situation to punish. Yeah, I'm afraid Omnix is out. We're having some mic issues, and I can't get him on stream. But I think he's in chat. So... okay, he tries doing that trick again, but he's a little too far away to make it work. Jumps up, gets A-Trained, brings us to round 3. Okay, so Ali tried poking and going into a grab, but because of the timing, Scout was still in hit stun, and you can't grab when you're in any form of stun. So you just have to delay that grab a little bit more. Okay, so Scout's lucky that that armor from A-Train was able to prevent him from going into stun, but that A-Train wasn't really a good move because Bella was still on the ground. Bella's sitting on 5 bar. Now the only oh, grab bag, nice. So unfortunately, you do not have armor when you're doing Pummel Horse, so that long startup time, you can still get hit during it. Observation from Ali. I haven't seen a ton of meter use apart from like one showstopper and one dynamo. Ali's comboing a bit as Bella, so they can hit confirm into some meter. Diamonds Are Forever's good, but a little risky. Showstopper can be a little tricky to work with, but there are plenty of safe times where Ali could be using Diamond Dynamo.
Now for the main attraction.
Let's do this in one take. Action.
Okay, here we go.
Ain't done yet.
Sweeps. Starts getting hit. It's a good tech, but again, you need to be careful with using lock and loading combos because the long startup time will generally allow your opponent to get out of a stun. If you really want to use lock and load in a combo, use a lighter variant that has less startup time because you don't need the armor if they're going to be in stun. Good grab. Nice merry-go-rilla for the KO. So, it seems to me like Ali's tumbling run antics for getting through the armor and getting in aren't really working anymore. Scout's been able to adapt, so Ali needs to come up with a different idea. So Big Man, one option is you could just simply jump forward and make sure that you're blocking. Because by jumping, you're going to make sure you don't get hit by the shockwave. Scout taunts is Big Man, good. You always want to have that taunt ready for your supers. A little bit of lag on my end. Yeah, Scout seems to have adapted to a lot of the stuff I was using earlier. Desperately tries that level 3, is able to hit, doesn't combo off it as much as they could have. I was actually sitting on 5 bar before doing that. So that was a good tuba. That was a good amount of damage, but only KOs by just teching out of the corner and doing a raw super. Keep in mind that when you do a throw or a grab, your damage starts scaling, and so going straight into a super, you're not going to do as much damage as you usually could. So that's, with someone like Sarabella, it's generally discouraged to go straight into super after a throw because you're not doing as much damage as you could have. You're kind of wasting that meter. But that was a decent move with Big Man because the tuba did the extra damage, but if that was done raw, I think it would have KO'd. Okay, so let's get our third matchup going. See who is ready. Okay, we're gonna have Lark, the Land Shark, and Risen Ashes are up. Just sent both of you invites. Friendly reminder that Noches Fria. What have you missed? Well, you haven't missed too much. We've gone through 3 sets right now. We're up to like more than 20 viewers, so hello everyone. Okay, Lark is in. Sending another invite to Risen Ashes. friendly reminder that if you have gameplay questions, feel free to ask away in chat, and someone would be happy to help you. Ellie, how do you combo after canceling your super grab? I'm assuming you're talking about Ultimate Showstopper. And how that works is, so at the end of Showstopper, when Bella flips over and pulls out the sword, there are 2 hits on it. There's one where they land on the sword that does a little damage, and then there's one where they sink in deep and it does a lot of damage. So you cancel out before that second hit. So for example, you could do Devil Horns after the first hit. You knock them out, you don't get the full damage of the super, but you're able to keep the combo going. Risen Ashes just went offline, so I'm assuming that they're bailing. Going to see if we can arrange another matchup. Okay. Just gonna say, okay, so Lark's opponent seems to have bailed, so what we're going to do is just let yourself into the lobby and you can play Lark. Just go to the Newbie Night chat, go to my name, I'm Waifu Patron Saint, and just right click, hit join game, and then you can hop in and you get to play 3 games against Lark. Okay, Quan, if you would like to, you just have... I'll invite you in. Okay, Quan is in. Okay, so ready up and then we can play. Rad, you showed up a little too late, but your opponent is in chat, so you guys will be up next. So that's Rad and Patrician. After these 2 play, you get to watch. Well, no, you get to fight. You watch this, and then you'll be fighting each other. Also, looking at stuff Quan asked, which is, in your opinion, the most difficult to learn character in a game with the most rewarding? That's a really opinionated question, and I don't have enough experience with all the characters to give an answer. So, Sixlet's still in chat. Maybe they can give you some advice. Okay, so Lark is playing Eliza Fortune, going against a solo big band. Okay, so Lark ground tech that time is better. Okay, Sixlet left, but I always appreciate him popping in and saying hi. Okay, so Lark's got the head out. The head was sitting there, manages to get a hit on a big band. So one of the challenges with playing early, he's able to just go straight into Panic Super. Didn't finish the taunt, and I generally disagree with doing that taunt, but it looks like they might be able to take the round. So something I'm really wary of with beginner players using Fortune is you need to be careful with the head, because if you leave it out, it's going to get punished. If someone manages to hit the body and the head simultaneously, it's doing 150% of the damage that move would normally do, because you're hitting the head and the body simultaneously. I'm not saying that beginners can't play Fortune, but I'm saying that beginners really need to be cautious of what they're doing with the head. I noticed a question in chat about hit confirming how many should it take to recognize what I need to do next. Well, you're doing quick light pokes, and it kind of boils down to reflexes of how long it's going to take for you to process. If I was going to throw out a magic number, I'd say like 2 or 3, I guess, but you got to remember that there are limitations on how you can string the moves together in a combo. Okay, Lark switched over to Philia and Parasol. Quan's still playing Big Band. Jumps straight up. Now, problem is Big Band has some really good anti-airs like A-Train and Beat Extend. Okay, that slide's unsafe. You want to avoid just throwing that out. And Philly is down just like that. Quan hasn't even taken a scratch. And Quan is able to get the taunt off. So A-Train, Super, Tuba Tuba. Now, Lark's going to be in a lot of trouble if they can't get out of the corner. Just does that wake-up super and takes game 2. Just wake-up supersonic jazz is an option that works too well sometimes. A lot of people do that, and if you don't see it coming, you pay for it dearly. But if it gets blocked, it's really punishable. So keep your raw supers and your wake-up supers in check. So Lark, we just need you to ready up and we can play game 3. And they readied up. Alright. So let's see if Lark's going to be able to take game 3. Why am I holding this? I'm not doing anything with this. Lark has been playing different characters every time. They're doing solo Fukua now. Which means, on one hand, Quan's not going to have the outrageous damage scaling advantage. And I think that's like a pretty good mix-up from Lark, starting with a couple standing hits and switching to lows, but now they have to deal with the giant steps and the brass knuckles. Okay, so right there, Quan jumped up. Lark did not switch their block stance. Stream is freezing every minute or so for me. Stream's looking fine on my end, so... Super does not hit, gets blocked. Throw. Hit. More hits. Brass knuckles. I was expecting A-Train into Supersonic Jazz, but it looks to me like Quan's not going to need to burn any meter to claim round 1. Okay, so Lark's gotta be cautious. They're just running in, and Quan's generally reacting by just jumping up and hitting in the air. Good tech. Throws out that super, running in. That was good. Quan really, I forget if you're able to tech off that, but you really should have teched there. Omnix, enough with the mic stuff, man. And you really got to be careful against Big Band with that shockwave. He's able to strike up the band, and I thought that would have killed. Does not kill. And Quan takes round 3.
We have come to terms. See,
Yeah, I remember the newbie night where Omnix got up. Not just Omnix, everybody that night got bodied by a solo Fuqua player. I think ever since then, everyone in that group's just kind of had a stigma against Fuqua. I include myself in that category. Alright, so we have that was okay, next up we're going to have Patrician and Rad. I've sent both of you invites. I see people are talking in there's a lot of stuff going on with Big Band. And Lark, remember, you know, this is your first time you've popped in here, if I remember right, and it's a learning experience. You're gonna get beat, and then you're gonna get better. You're gonna figure out what's wrong, and you're gonna work around it. Okay, Rad's in, so we can get this game going. We expect the yeah, no, she's free. Unfortunately, can't get. I'm not gonna be able to get the mic working tonight. I can't immediately tell what's wrong with it, and so it's more tinkering than I can do while the stream's running. But we'll definitely have it working for next week. Yeah, newbie night. The newbie night tournament is run by Double Dark, so check out his Twitch. They might be on his hitbox. I believe he puts them on his YouTube channel.
ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Patrician doing Squiggly Valentine, going against Solo Squiggly from Rad.
Submerge. There, here, take this. Now, look out. Step away. Mother, now.
I'm wondering when Patrician's going to want to tag out. Because it seems like they're having some trouble with the Squiggly Squiggly matchup. Switches to Valentine. Bit more mobility, also projectile. Runs in with checkmate incision. Now they tried going in with that again, but they were left vulnerable when Squiggly got up. Okay, that heavy could have been punished. Generally, Patrician seems to be having a lot of trouble getting in, and I'm not seeing a ton of comboing. Like right there, that level 3 got blocked and it wasn't going to connect, so they just lost a lot of meter. That was a good use of an assist, but really should have capitalized on that. And they could have had a combo going as Valentine. Is this going to be the end of Patrician Squiggly? A Rad it looks like that was a B&B that they kind of screwed up the timing or the spacing a couple of times. But if they can work that out, that'd be pretty decent. Okay, now Rad switched over, ditched the solo Squiggly, instead he's adding Filia onto the team. Now, as a Filia player myself, I'm a little more critical of watching other people play. And the first thing I can say about Rad's... Is that gonna hit? No, it's gonna hit. First thing that immediately came to mind with Rad's Filia is that it needs more air dashes. That you keep your combos going longer, they're a big mobility tool to use more. Switches out into Squiggly. Good Scorpion grab. It's Silver Cord, but it's basically Scorpion's grab for Mortal Kombat. Some good hits in from Patrician, but gonna get hit by Squiggly. Almost tripped IPS. Technically tripped if it didn't use Patrician did not burst out. Keeps on doing checkmate incision, but that can be punished when it's blocked. Yeah, Rad keeps on dropping that Squiggly combo, so might need a little more lab time to get that working. Tries the level 3, but oh, yeah, I forgot that flies back. It might have just gotten patched in, actually. I know I just saw that on the Salty stream. Pushes out to Val. Now, I've seen neither player do a DHC, but neither of them have really been using their supers in effective ways. Red flies back, lets Patricia out of the corner. It's hit by the knives. Tags in his Filia. Filia has quite a bit of health left. Let's see if they can put that Filia to good use. Switches their block stance, which I really like. Tried doing crouching heavy kick into hairball, which unfortunately, if they ground tech, that doesn't work. Jumps over that daisy pusher and is able to take out Patrician Squiggly. Level 3 is not going to hit. Both players have not been using the meter particularly well. Able to get in with the crouch heavy for the win. Alright, we're looking for one more. Okay, game 3, same teams as before. Squiggly Val, Filia Squiggly. No just got a fight stick, alright. I think that message popped up in chat a little while ago. Okay, so unfortunately, Patrician was launched up too high for that Gregor Samson to connect. So maybe if Rad jumped up and did a poke or two in the air before doing the Gregor would have worked. So when you have someone in the corner as Filia and you throw them in, when they land you're close enough that you can actually hit them with a move and you can start up a combo, start experimenting with resets. Are command throws techable or blockable? They are neither. Command throws are untechable, they are unblockable, you just have to get out of the way of them. It's like pseudo-American reset from Red on that Squiggly combo. There is a... I think it technically counts as a command grab. Cerebella's grab bag can be teched. But that's the only thing that comes to mind. Good grab from Patrician. Okay, so not the greatest raw tag because Rad had an opening that he could have punished.
Pardon me.
I thought that Daisy Pusher was out of range, but it appears not, and that's going to be a dead Squiggly. So Rad should tag out. He could regenerate a ton of Squiggly health. Patrician's sitting on 5 bar. Tries doing that light move several times, but it does not connect. Does a completely unnecessary level 3 to ensure they get the kill.
Tell me where it hurts.
Now, again, Rad really should have tagged out after Patrician Squiggly got KO'd, because they would have been able to regenerate more than half of Squiggly's health. Okay, so that could have been punished. I keep saying that a lot. This could have been punished. That could have been punished. But it's important to see openings where you can just start wailing on your opponent. Flies in with Gregor Samson. Even if Patrician blocked that, they could have been chipped out. So, good games to both of you. Let's see who else we can do now. Not seeing them. Okay, so we're going to have Adri Great 14 go against Tesu. Okay, it looks like Tesu's hopping in game. Okay, we got both of them in. Which means I can check out that and that. And lobby a little later. Alright, so after this one, we are going to run a little bit of open lobby play. We'll do 2 or 3 games of open lobby, and then I need to call it quits for the night. So again, if you have gameplay questions, ask away in chat. And is this going to lag out? No, it's not going to lag out. Adri playing Solo Philia, going against Tesu's Solo Parasol. Seeing some solid napalm shot game, but Adri is able to get in. This is too heavy. It could have been punished if they went for light move instead of crouching medium kick, I think. So I like how Tesu's trying to play the zoning game. They're making solid use of their napalm shots. They should be shooting them up in the air, because Philia's playstyle requires a lot of airplay, a lot of instant air dashes, and so shooting them upward every once in a while, you're going to prevent that movement option. Like that! See, that was great. She was going to jump up, but she got hit. Final Dragoon. I was going to sign off this, but I'm doubting being good enough for it. This is newbie play. This is not a competitive event. Everyone is here to practice. We try and match you with someone at your skill level. The whole point of this is to hop in and get good. All I say is you need to play through the tutorial. You should know some combos. But once you have that, I totally encourage you to hop in and give this a try. So Taisu seems to have a little trouble, like, they can do a pretty good job keeping Philly away. Oh, does that level 3. Does the eager call to get up. They should have gone for an overhead instead of doing those light moves, because Philly was clearly blocking the, they were blocking the Inferno Brigade from a crouching height. So I think Taisu did the right thing by eager calling out and running in. They just had to understand the situation better, and there's some Omnix tier napalm shot spam going on. Again, Taisu has trouble when Philly's actually able to get in. But a lot of people have that trouble with Philly, but Taisu's turning this around, doing some good work. Oh, takes him out by just throwing out some crouching pokes. You gotta be really careful during Philly's sliding kick. I'm guessing Newbie Night is a much better way of learning neutral game and resets than sitting in training mode and pressing buttons. That's a goal I've done so far. Yeah. Basically, training mode's not going to really teach you neutral game. The AI will kind of teach you neutral game, but it kind of won't. The best thing you can do to get better is to play against human beings. And we try and facilitate that. And yeah, once you have your neutral game down, you can experiment with resets and stuff. Alright, game 2. Let's see how both of the players adapt now that they kind of have a taste of what they're up against.
Time to put on a show. Action.
So it looked like that was something of a mix-up, where Adri went in with the jumping medium. Yeah, it looked like Adri was mixing up. They did a jumping move, and then they started going into lows, and Taisu didn't block the first move, so it was fine. But that might have worked as a mix-up if they did block the jumping move. So Adri has Taisu locked down in the corner. I know a lot of players last week had trouble with getting out of the corner. Techs out, runs back, good move, starts doing napalm shots. Taisu understands that they're in a bit of a bind. Adri has a lot of health left, having even been knocked out once. So they're trying to play the zoning game and tries to Gregor Samson in, is able to Gregor Samson in. That's something that I like doing, and something you need to be cautious of when you're spamming napalm shots. Is that if your opponent works out the timing, it's possible they can fly in and punish you with a super. Now, despite my criticisms of the napalm shot spam, it seems to be working. And Taisu is able to take a round off of Adri. Pops off a level 3, runs in to try and extend it. But they get KO'd. But that was a good round. That was a solid attempted comeback from Taisu. So for those who don't know what's going on with Adri's, was it Taisu who's playing Parasol? Whoever was playing Parasol, I'm sorry that I just blanked. They are canceling out of the Inferno Brigade super by using an E-recall, and that allows them to run in and mix up or keep the combo going. It's a really, really good trick, and it lets you do some incredibly brutal stuff as Parasol. Taisu's playing Parasol.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
It's trying the shot game. Another option for Philia, instead of just jumping up, is you can do crouching heavy kick to slide under the napalm shots. If you want to be really fancy, after you do that, you can try and hit them with a ringlet spike. Taisu is relentlessly trying to zone out Philia. Occasionally switches it up and does a bounce. Means that jumping is not a consistent option for Adri. Tries doing a raw hairball, but that's not safe. Manages to delay a hairball and somehow get that hairball hit in, even though the other moves will block. So now Taisu's stuck in the corner. This could be a bit of a scary situation for them. So right there, after that hairball, could have air dashed and done more. It looks like that may have been a bit of an attempted reset with that throw. After that throw, if you made sure that Parasol stayed in the corner, you could just start doing a combo again. There's another Gregor Samson and KOs. So round 2. I'm not a big fan of using standing heavy kick and affiliate combo because the knockback limits your options of what you can do. From the knockback, all you can really do is hairball, and then all you can do from hairball is Fenrir drive. Which, you know, seems nice, but I know that you can do more with that combo if you take out the heavy, and maybe if you do, say, standing heavy punch and you launch, you could do more. But what do I know? Because Adri just took the round. Alright. Okay, so we are now going to be doing an open lobby block. Probably going to have time for maybe 3 or 4 sets. If you want to play, just go into the Skullgirls Newbie Night Steam chat, go to Waifu Patron Saint, and hit Stompenstein's in. First person to hop in here gets to play 3 games against Stompenstein. Oh, Stompenstein's out. So, we have 2 spots. Why do you appear as West Coast when I'm in Central America? So Adri, you need to go into the settings for Skullgirls. Fizzy's in here, so we're waiting for one more person to hop in. Worry Wart Wally. Okay, let's get this going. So Adri, you need to go into the settings for Skullgirls and configure what you're going to be in. Actually, I'm going to sorry, Squirtle, you got here last. After this, I have to switch this to a 3 slot. Or whatever, it's going to be those 3. Yeah, like Native DJ said, you need to manually set it. So guys, as a quick heads up, the lobby has 4 slots in it, because I usually leave one open for Omnix. So don't join right now, because you're going to get in, but I'm just going to kick you, because we need these guys to play.
This may sting.
Okay, so Fizzy's playing Valentine and Fuqua going against Wally's solo Fuqua. Wally's starting to throw projectiles, but Fizzy's able to jump up and fly in. Vulnerable during that heavy. Tries doing a throw, and that throw connects. Goes straight into a knife, super solid. Solid. Crossed up during that combo. Goes in with a checkmate decision. So Fizzy looks to me like they have a very solid Valentine. Switches out into Fuqua. I don't understand why they did that tag. It looked like they had a pretty solid Fuqua combo going. There's a good combo extension with the glide. How late is the stream going tonight? We're only going to do 3 or 4 open lobby sets. I need to get going early tonight. Okay, so ready up and we can do game 2. Wait, it's right. So I'm wondering if Wally's going to tack on additional characters. I believe earlier Wally Well, he might have put on someone like Sarabella or Big Man, but I think they did have a second character as well as Fuqua.
Time for your physical.
Cameras rolling.
Okay, so Fizzy switched it up to Valentine while he's still playing solo. No, I didn't even switch up. No, they swapped out. They have Fortune now. Again, Fizzy's got some solid Valentine play. Has a combo that crosses up, which could possibly lead to resets. A little late on that checkmate incision, though. Mommy palette for Fortune, so I can dig that. That was the first DHC of the night. I don't think it was really necessary in that case. It was just for the extra damage. DHCs, you should use them for more than simply damage, because provided that your moves are actually hitting, it's a safe way to switch characters. So right there, I'm not a fan of that raw tag. He blocked that crouching heavy kick from Fuqua and could have punished afterward instead of tagging out. The tag made Fizzy vulnerable in a situation where Fizzy should have been in control. Okay, so we're gonna have one more game from these two.
Make it flashy, guys. Action.
Okay, so Wally, Solo Fuqua, Fizzy, Valentine, Fortune, same as last time. I would like to see more Fortune play from Fizzy, just because I'm curious as to how they work with the head. Good grab from Fizzy. Pull the head back in. That's good, because when the head's out in the open, you can just wail on the head. And yeah, it only does have damage, but it still deals damage. So, I respect that they knew that it would be a good idea to pull the head back in. So they're hitting with that launcher, but they're not really extending on it. Okay, I really liked how Wally saw that he should switch back down, and that was a really weird lag spike. Alright, Fizzy's able to take another game.
Player 2 wins.
Alright, that is 3, so we're going to kick these two out. I am going to remake. Oh, no, need edit slots. 3, size 3. Make lobby. Lobby is now open. Wow, that filled up really quick. Okay, so we have Julia and Zelixi. Zelixi's been here since the first lobby night. I have not seen Julia before. Quan's getting a version mismatch error. I think you might just have to restart Skullgirls. So a lot of people talk about how they get that error, but I've never seen it before. everybody's getting version mismatch errors.
I'll cut you down to
Okay, so it's
size.
Lixie, Valentine Squiggly going against Juliet's Fuqua Big Band.
I've seen worse.
Lixie's doing okay, kind of gets him, but heavy attack gets blocked, possibly punished. Pretty lengthy Fuqua combo from Juliet. Tries doing a rod tag, gets hit by a big band assist. So Big Band was getting up so that Silver Cord did not connect. Tags into Val. Would have liked to see a DHC. Grab, reset, and Juliet was able to take out Zalixie's Valentine. A-Train, KO. And in a demonstration of utter disrespect, throws out a level 3 after the KO.
Side effects may include nausea.
Okay, same teams as before, but we have now gone to Big Band's salty stage. Keeps on throwing out brass knuckles, and Zalixie keeps on getting hit by it. One of the problems with using a glide move like Valentine's or Cerebella's, or air dashing like with Philia, is that you can't block. In Skullgirls you can normally block in the air, but when you're doing one of those special movement options, you can't block. And so, while jumping up, you could be blocking that brass knuckles, but as long they just can't glide or anything in order to pull off the block. Tags into Big Band. You know, last game we did see some good gameplay at the end. Get to the overhead. He's getting a little choppy on my end. Word of warning. Goes into that grab. He's probably going to do the same grab reset as before. So Zalixie needs to catch on to the timing of that. Pulls off that Scorpion grab. Really needs to punish here, but is only able to get 3 hits in. Too far for that A-Train to work. Keeps on trying to... Oh no, that was Juliet's. Never mind. Good grab. Again, so Zalixie is sometimes getting in these grabs or hits, but really needs to capitalize more on them. I don't know if it's a latency issue or a skill issue. This does seem to be a pretty laggy matchup. But Zalixie's going to town with these Valentine grabs and now has Big Band trapped in the corner. But Juliet was able to get a throw in, probably going to be a dead Valentine. I wonder if I wonder if Juliet did that throw because they were trying to tech whatever they thought Zelixi was going to do. So Juliet was really vulnerable when retracting that silver cord, so I'm wondering if Zelixi could have done more. Maybe could have thrown that syringe he just prepped his Val. Do some poison damage. So Juliet's sitting on 5 bar, Zelixi has 4. Haven't really seen any meter burned by both players. Now they are both sitting at level 5. I'm wondering, are we going to see another Disrespect level 3? We're going to see a Disrespect level 1. Which, you know, might be like 1/3 is disrespectful, but it's still disrespectful. Yeah, butt trumpet, yeah, it is pretty laggy. We have some life aquatic ping here. $14.33 milliseconds. If that's not lag, I don't know what is. Okay, so Juliet switched it up, pulled out Squiggly, put in Peacock. So we could see some infuriating zoning depending on what Juliet's gonna do with her. Tags in, kinda jumping around. One of the problems with using Silver Cord as a Squiggly assist is that she needs to pull Leviathan back in before jumping out. And so during that time, Squiggly can be left pretty vulnerable. So you want to make sure you protect that assist. Elixir might want to tag out soon. A-Train! Oh, I'm wondering if Juliet, after that A-Train, could have gone into Peacock's Argus Agony. Would have had to time the laser hit, though, in order to make sure that the rest connected. Bang, bang, bang! Could have, and probably should have gone into Argus, because you want to play Keep Away as Peacock. Peacock is the essential zoning character of Skullgirls. You're meant to stay away from your opponent, although you can kind of play Rushdown Peacock. But generally, whenever you get the chance, you want to set off Argus Agony because that'll push them all the way to the other side of the screen. And Bang 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 is a really easy way to hit confirm to it. Good whole idea, but part of that B&B gets blocked, and Zelixi's able to kill. Bit of a reset there, but the end of that B&B got blocked. Juliet's sitting on 5 bar, but I got a feeling they might be saving it for a Disrespect level 3. Throws out that syringe. Good, good. Oh, but yep. So we're down to Big Band and Squiggly. Zelixi's kind of had trouble with this matchup. Wait for the throw. Is it gonna throw? No. Gonna A-Train. Level 3. Doesn't save it for Disrespect. Something I noticed, Juliet has not been taunting at all. And that's a big problem for a big band player, is you always want to have that taunt ready when you can. Oh, blocks that. Is this going to be it? Could have supered and gotten the kill, but is able to do it with a throw, and Zelixi takes game 3.
I couldn't do it without you.
Don't that just beat all?
I just kicked myself from the lobby. That's not supposed to happen. No, well, the menus are glitching out. This is something. What is this? Okay, my Skullgirls is doing some weird stuff, so I'm gonna do a reboot really quick. And then we will open up the lobby again. Come on. Go to versus local. No, not local. Lobby play. I am player 1. What is going on here? Your controller's probably fine. Okay. The lobby is open. Well, now it's not open. So we have Stompenstein and we have Squirtle. Rip in pieces, right shift key. Okay, so everyone's readied up. Squirtle is new to Lobby Night. I have not seen them play before. So I'm curious to see what their game plan is. Yeah, lobby's filling up fast. This is a friendly reminder that we run pre-registration for these events. By registering, you are guaranteed a chance to play, and we will try and match you with a fair opponent. So we'll try and give you someone at your skill level. We're going to try and minimize latency. So I highly recommend that if you definitely want to do this, you register in advance. So otherwise the lobbies are getting tougher and tougher to get into. Squirtle's playing Philia Eliza, going against Stompenstein's Big Band Philia. I really didn't like that hairball that Philia did. You know, they had done a couple of pokes. Nice tech. They had done a couple of pokes. It was very clear that hairball wasn't going to hit. And hairball is unsafe on block. Stompenstein goes into a solid 45 hit Big Band combo. Uses more meter, but I don't think that was really necessary. I think they could have done a longer combo to do a solid amount of damage. It would have held on to that meter. Also, I've noticed very, very few. There's been maybe one person that's done this, but most of the people that are playing teams are not using DHCs to tag. In the tutorial, these are called blockbuster sequels. They're generally known as delayed hyper combos. But it's when you use the character's super and then you are able to activate one of your assist character's supers, and that allows you to safely tag into that character. I'm pretty surprised that did not kill Stompenstein's Philia. He should really tag out. He should really tag out if the game doesn't blow up. The game blew up. Okay, so I guess we'll try this matchup again, and hopefully it doesn't lag out this time. But like I was saying, DHCs are an incredibly important tool in team games. At first, you might think that they're just a way to do a ton of damage, but again, they're a safe way to tag to your character. When you're doing raw tags, you're vulnerable. But DHCs, if the supers are connecting, DHCs are essentially a guaranteed safe way to switch characters if you have the meter. And Stompenstein is kill. So... And Stompenstein is not kill. Stompenstein's back. So, if this match doesn't work, we might just call it quits. Squirtle's gone. Squirtle's back. Squirtle going to hop back in. We have this one open spot, and I have no idea if Squirtle's gonna try and get back in. Scout's in. So, Stompenstein Scout, this is a matchup I know I've seen before. I don't know if that was earlier tonight, but it may have been last week. Yeah, they didn't face off this week. Okay, so we'll say that. Okay, next one is. So, friendly warning. After Stompenstein Scout, we're going to have one more set.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
So, if you want to play, that'll be your last chance. Big Band Mirror matchup. Now, what I've noticed from Stompenstein's play, comparing it to Scout's, Stompenstein seems to have longer bread and butter combos and makes better use of grabs. Uses the armor on that A-train, is able to fly in. Oh, okay, so they know to block that. Timed out a little too late, so the thing is, with Supersonic Jazz, is you're going to keep on flying until you start hitting. So you really want to make sure you get that timing right, or else your opponent's just going to get up and start blocking the first chance they get. Lots of grabs, but, well, that one was from Scout, not Stompenstein. Weren't you going to pair us up with someone? We only do that if you register. When we have you register, you fill out a little survey, you tell us your location, how many hours you played, what characters you play as, what other games you've played, and we use that information to match you with someone. We can't do that on the fly in open lobby play. Open lobby, you're going to get matched with whoever shows up, so it could be really uneven, it could be really laggy, but we can't match that on the fly. So, trying to figure out what Scout can do. Scout's sitting on 3 meter, you know. I don't think either of these big bands have been taunting, but there hasn't necessarily been a ton of downtime. Stompenstein takes game 1. Was there going to be a tournament this coming week? There is a Newbie Night tournament run by Double Dark on the 17th. I will try and pull that information up for you. Okay, from what I can tell, the next Newbie Night is going to be on the 17th. Here is a link to the chat, not the chat, the challenge for that tournament. That's how you register. Again, this is not run by me, it's run by Double Dark. He does a good job with it. Back and forth grabs. Now that was interesting. Scout was winding up to do a brass knuckles, and Stompenstein was able to pull off a beat extend during the startup. Now both of them are using that little string where they do a few light pokes, then jump up and do the twirl. It's funny, like, I say that they're doing different things, and then there's some stuff that they're doing really, really similarly. This is that timpani drive for the KO. I think that was supposed to be an A train, not a brass knuckles. Scout's sitting on 4 meters. Alpenstein is only at 1. It's incredibly easy to hit confirm into, yeah, I believe it's going to be on the 17th. Double Dark never runs tournaments on weekdays. Wait, no, the 18th is Sunday. I think it's supposed to be Saturday. I believe it is the 17th. Good tech there. KOs for that beat extend. We got one more game. Scout gets KO'd with 5 meter. You can... just about all of Big Band's moves can lead into supersonic jazz. So when you're sitting on that much meter, I guess I wouldn't worry so much about using it well. But in that situation, you have 5 meter, you're just about to die. I would start trying to just burn it as safely as you can. And in Big Band, it's not that hard to use it safely. But Trumpet asks, is there going to be a VOD for this stream? Yes, there is. Give me one moment. Oh, thanks, Elixir. Yeah, that is a link to my YouTube channel. I post all the VODs on there the day after the event. So you'll be able to pop in, watch your matches, listen to the commentary.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
It's all good stuff. Tries to go for an A-train, but Stompenstein was not airborne, and so he just gets hit instead. So right there, all he does is he throws, and he does the taunt, good, had not seen much taunting, any taunting. Right there, all he did was he just went into a throw and he did supersonic jazz. It scaled, but he used the meter. Early on in the match, when, he only had 1 bar and it was fairly close, I wouldn't have done that in that situation. But that's an example of just a quick way to use meters Big Band. Even if it's not efficient. So he gives them time so both of them were able to get taunts off. Scout did his when he knocked down Stompenstein. Stompenstein did his when Scout was too far away to punish it. I think if Stompenstein kept that combo going longer, I think he could have KO'd without using meter. Because by doing that, he just wasted that extra taunt damage. That would have been more valuable to him when it, for the first few hits of Timpani Drive KO'd there. So it was a real waste of the taunt to throw it out there as well. So, okay, Stompenstein was dangerously close to Scout. I thought that taunt would have been punished, but he's able to get it off just fine. Brass Knuckles gets blocked, quickly punished with a throw. Good use of the Brass Knuckles armor by Stompenstein to get in there. Good grab for the reset. Goes straight into Supersonic Jazz. Tuba Tuba. KO.
Let's give a big hand for Big Band. It's in the can.
So as Big Band said, let's give a big hand to both of our Big Band players. Lobby's open for the last time. Okay, Taesu and Quan are in. This is the last match of the night. Again, as we are wrapping up, if you have any last minute questions, ask away in Twitch chat, and we'll try to answer and help you out. Did not know how to fight back. It was so hard to. I'm getting the dreaded audio glitch. Quan, we need you to ready up. Yeah, what's funny about mirror matches in general is that all the tools that you think you have at your disposal, your opponent does too. They can do everything you can. And so it's weird to be on the receiving end of that. But it's a really healthy experience because as you try and work out how to beat it, it reminds you of the vulnerabilities of your character. You'll have looping sounds. So you want to ready up. Yeah, you know, we had a lot of registered players this week, and just about all of them showed up. I think there were 2 or 3 people that didn't. So maybe we'll add in some maybe we'll add in a couple of extra rounds for registered players, or we'll do a second cycle. Julia, I would not expect Juliet to have the name Butt Trumpet. So what was a good way to get a first hit in with Squiggly? Okay, you know what, Quan's been sitting in the lobby for a couple of minutes, so... Oh god. Yeah, I'm sure I want to leave. I had to remake the lobby, so I'm sorry to Taesu and Quan. Stompenstein, you've got a... Okay, so, first of all, Butt Trumpet's Squiggly question, unfortunately, I can't really help you with, because I don't know Squiggly. Zelixi says that you could do crouch medium, but yeah, unfortunately, I don't know her. Patrician's in, and Taesu's in. Perfect. Stompenstein, I think you got a... Oh, you just played. That's right. I didn't get into your game, so I wasn't able to watch it. I was stuck on the lobby screen. I'm sorry. That's weird. Sometimes lobbies misbehave and things happen. But like I was saying, Stompenstein, I think you've got a solid big band. I like that using throws. I haven't seen a ton of players at this event use their throws, but they're really, really important too. And big band has a lot of good reset options, both on the ground and in the air from his throws. Again, Omnix kind of plays big band. I have no experience with big band, so he might be able to tell you more. One thing I would say is try and use more taunts. Taesu goes into some relentless Omnix tier Parasol zoning that Patrician has to find a way to get through. Okay, so Patrician realized that they weren't having much luck getting into Squiggly, so they tagged out to Valentine, and they are now just going under napalm shots with Savage Bypass. So that was a really good reaction on there, and they realized that they were in a situation they were having trouble with. They came up with a solution. They quickly adapted. Julia, your big band was also good. You used a ton of resets off of throws and stuff in the air. So, yeah, I think both of you have really solid big bands. So Squiggly's just kind of on the other side of the screen doing moves that aren't going to hit. I wonder if they were screwing up their inputs. Dash is in, but it was able to block that Inferno Brigade. I wonder if Taesu could have egret called out of there when they realized that it was getting blocked, and then they could have gone in for an overhead mix-up. So, something I want to say about both, I think just about like all the big bands, I've seen very, very few raw supers. A lot of people, you know, they panic and they just mash raw supersonic jazz's big band. I haven't really seen people doing that, and that's a very, very good thing, because that can get punished very easily. Let's see if this works. It worked. How do I get to their level of big band? Bread and butter combos are really, really important, and understanding big band spacing is important as well, because his moves have long startup and long recovery, so even though they do high damage, they have pretty big periods of vulnerability. So you want to get really, really good at your combos, and you want to make sure that you're doing those at safe times. That was a good little sequence of moves from Teisu. Goes back into zoning. Now they're just throwing the straight high-speed napalm shot. I know earlier I mentioned that Teisu could be shooting them upward on occasion. These characters like Valentine and Philia would probably jump up and fly in to get over the shots. So I'd like to see more of those. Teisu used them before, not seeing them now. Okay, so Teisu did what I mentioned they could have done last match, where they used Inferno Brigade, they Egret called out and started hitting. The thing is that Patrician was already blocking at standing height, and so an overhead wouldn't have worked. Now, this is kind of, you have a really short time to plan this, but once you get better, it's a really good thing to be able to do, is when you have that Inferno Brigade, you have time to process and understand what height they're blocking at, and what moves you can hit them with. Because you can't always say, okay, well I can Inferno Brigade and overhead. That'll only work if they're blocking low. If they block standing, you're out of luck. So you want to be able to assess that situation quickly and make sure your move's going to hit them wherever they're vulnerable. Patrician, Squiggly Valentine, Teisu, Parasol. Oh, Teisu just kind of backwalked a bit while Squiggly was jumping around. Patrician looks like they screwed up the Squiggly BMB. Seeing fewer shots from Teisu. Yeah, there's some more shots. The way I play is if a strategy works, I'm going to keep on using it. And in this case, Teisu's napalm shots keep on working. Patrician is having trouble getting through them. So, if you ask me, there's no shame in just... So Patrician might want to consider tagging out. So in that situation, I would not have run in as Valentine. Teisu is always playing a ranged game, and they're always kind of cautious. Hey, that actually connected this time. What I would have done is, I would have backed out and raw tagged. You know, Parasol from a range isn't really going to be able to punish the tag substantially. So you would have had nothing to worry about in terms of being vulnerable. I would have raw tagged, regenerated that Valentine health, and then pop back in later. Yeah, Omnex suggests not to abuse Savage Bypass. Listen to him, because he's a Valentine player and I'm not. So that concludes this week's Get Good Newbie Night. Friendly reminder, here's a link to my YouTube channel. I'm going to have VODs from tonight's event up there by tomorrow. So make sure that you subscribe if you want to see those. I'm also going to post them to the Skullgirls subreddit. Registration for next week's lobby night will be up by tomorrow as well. I will also post that on the Skullgirls subreddit, and I will make sure that that's in the description of the VODs. So, yeah, that's it for this week's event. I hope that we help you got good. And remember, you can always be getting better. I encourage you to talk with the people that you played with, add them as friends, just play in casual lobbies with them sometime. Because seriously, playing with people at your level will help you get better. Playing with people above your level will help you get better. Just play against human beings, and it helps you so much. So, we will see you next week, and until next week, stay salty, my friends.